Mphathi Nkqubo kule nyanga sibhiyozela iminyaka engama-64 emigushuzo eyabanjwa ngoomama bezwe lakowethu ngo-1956 kumzabalazo wokusikhulula kwimbandezelo yorhulumente wengcinezelo. Under normal circumstances, we were going to commemorate their heroics through a series of programs in our communities, which are meant to highlight the successes and challenges that are faced by women in our country today. However, the coronavirus pandemic that has visited not only our country but the entire global community this year makes it impossible for us to gather for our normal program in public. Nevertheless, technology makes it possible for us to meet virtually to communicate our clarion message to the women of our nation that their name must be praised. Ngokwenene nangenyaniso nakulona unyaka unobunzima ka-2020 sisatsho ngamqhelomnye ukuba igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. Kulo nyaka andinanjongo zakunilandela imbali yomzabalazo owakhokelwa nini ngonyaka ka-1956 okwam kukugxila kwindima emayidlalwe ngamanina ekuseni ilizwe lethu kwinqanaba elingasentla. The women of 1956 organized and mobilized each other to address the challenges they faced at the time, which were political in nature. To their credit, they accomplished their mission under extremely difficult conditions that included arrest, torture, and physical brutality of the apartheid regime. Today, as a nation, we stand tall among the nations of the world as a free, democratic, non-racial, and non-sexist country that is on course to becoming a united and a prosperous nation due to the contribution of the women of 1956 in our liberation struggle. Among the women of that generation was Umama Lillian Dedricks, a daughter of our province, a woman rights activist, a trade unionist, shop steward, founding member of the Federation of South African Women, member of the South African Communist Party, one of the frontline leaders of the 1956 Women's March, and the recipient of the government National Order of Luthuli for advancing democracy in our country. We mention her name today and in this month that is dedicated to honor women in our country because as the 6th administration, we are in process of renaming the Bisho State House building, that is the official office of the Premier, after her name. We are engraving her name in that building to inspire us to be more servant leaders at all times. Her motto in life is that we must not make excuses, and the leadership of the 6th administration, we find resonance in her words as we make our contribution of building the Eastern Cape we want. At the time, we will invite her and other leaders of women organization for a ceremony to unveil the naming of the Bisho State House after her. The women of today face different struggle than the women of 1956. A struggle of living in a country that is grappling with the developmental challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality, all of which affect women in particular. Various studies indicate that women who are the majority in our country are the majority in the unemployment statistics. This has adverse effects on families as women are the glue that holds family units intact. Without adequate income, women become vulnerable to all sorts of injustices which affect their role of participating in the matters of socio-economic development. The ANC-led government continues to be the leading agent of liberating women from the clutches of unemployment in our country. Not only that, we are also the most vocal advocates for the appointment of women into leadership positions in both public and private sectors. Our record speaks for itself in the affirmation of women into leadership position, into public office through our 50-50 representation policy. In the Executive Council that I lead, women MECs are the majority than men. We also have more women HODs than men. I must hasten to add that These are not token appointments. These are appointments of capable and qualified women who are making a contribution to building the Eastern Cape we want. We have committed to use this sixth administration to move with agility in the affirming women in the senior management position of government departments, and we still stand by our commitment. For us to change the employment inequality landscape in the country, we must lead the way in government so that the private sector can follow. Where women lead, most of the time we see progress. The majority of the women who are affected by unemployment, poverty, and inequality in our province reside in the rural areas. They rely on us to fight their battles for affirmation and development as we do for women in the urban areas. Their only desire is to have opportunities to feed their own families. They want access to clean water, electricity, and quality healthcare services. This is not too much to ask from a government that knows their historic difficulties of underdevelopment. We are on course to affirm the rural women of our province through the delivery of basic services such as water, electricity, and healthcare services closer to their homes. We are also supporting women to start up and grow their own cooperatives, particularly in the agricultural space. We continue to give dignity to women who sell their products as hawkers in the small towns by building shelters to protect them from the adverse weather conditions. Using the government procurement muscle on goods and services, women are a designated target group with 30% set aside to procure goods and services from women-owned enterprises. Poverty remains the most stubborn challenge facing women. We are, however, doing everything possible to engage women in socio-economic development initiatives such as EPWP to put food on their family tables. The Social Security grant system, which our government continues to increase on a yearly basis, is also playing a crucial role in assisting women to take care of their families and children in particular. These are short-term measures. Our long-term aim is to empower women with sustainable jobs and business opportunities and take them out of the social security net. Added to these developmental challenges that I've just mentioned, women are also face man-made challenges of violence which manifest themselves in the form of abuse, rape, and femicide. Violence against women perpetuated by men is the most painful disaster of our young democracy. I was ashamed in June to learn that 181 cases of rape were reported to the police. This happened while we are in the middle of an invisible coronavirus pandemic. This tells you the brutality that is meted out on the women of our province in our homes. The only solution to this pandemic of violence against women is tighter laws to deter and punish those who perpetuate violence against women. Our laws put too much emphasis on upholding the rights of the individuals who violate the rights of others. Men have no right to violate women. Thus, punishment for such violations should send out a clear and unambiguous message on whose side the law is on when it happens. Otherwise, if the law is not tightened, we will still have this challenge of violence against women in the country in 2056 when we celebrate the 100th commemoration of Women's Day. Ayonto ndicinga sifuna ukuyibona isenzakaleyo ngelo xesha. All the other initiatives of teaching men to change their behaviors, which are born out of historic and traditional patriarchal tendencies and pure misplaced masculinity, must be undertaken parallel to the enforcement of tighter laws that prevent and punish men who violate women. The various interventions that have been announced by the President on dealing with violence against women are moving us towards the right direction of decisively addressing this scourge. We owe it to the courageous women of 1956 to end violence against women in our country. Surely they never anticipated that after apartheid, women will ever be under a vicious cycle of attack from the very same people they gave life to. With those few words, we once again wish to convey our message of gratitude to the women of our province. May you continue to protect yourselves and your families during this coronavirus pandemic by wearing your mask, washing your hands with soap, and practicing physical distancing. The coronavirus storm is not yet over. I thank you.